Good morning, my dear students of class 3. How are you? Hope you all are well and stay your home now. So, boys, today is Tuesday and the date is 13th October 2020. And today is our English 1 class. So, boys, we shall start a new poem today, that is My Bed is a Boat. So, boys, let's start our study now. The name of the poem is My Bed is a Boat, and this is written by Robert Louis Stevenson. And you all open your book, page number 98. And this is our last chapter for third summative syllabus. Boys, at first we know about the poet, that is Robert Louis Stevenson. He was born on November 13, 1850 in Edinburgh, Scotland. Robert Louis Balfour Stevenson came from a long line of prominent lighthouse engineers. During his boyhood, he spent holidays with his maternal grandfather, a minister and professor of moral philosophy who shared his love of sermons and storytelling with him. Prone to illness, Stevenson spent many of his early winters in bed, entertained only by his imagination and a great love of reading, especially William Shakespeare, Sir Walter Scott, John Bunn, and Arabian Nights. Now at first we know the theme of the poem, that is My Bed is a Boat. How Stevenson uses meter and diction to express anxiety in My Bed is a Boat. My Bed is a Boat is a poem by the late Victorian poet Robert Louis Stevenson. It is part of his children's classic A Child's Garden of Verses 1885. A collection of poems will demonstrate the essay how meter and tone of voice in My Bed is a Boat are used to express a child's anxiety related to sleep by looking at meter as well as the rhyme scheme and how these concepts connect to a breathing pattern commonly associated with higher levels of anxiety, and ultimately how these notions along with the diction of the poem are exploited by Stevenson to create an strident tone of voice. All stanzas consist of 3 lines in iambic tetrameter, followed by 1 line is iambic trimeter, indicating a breathing pattern that has a longer inhalation period and a shorter exhalation period. Picon is a child which can be implied from the reference to the nurse in line 2. The poem is not directed to a particular audience, but since this was originally published in A Child's Garden of Verses and Underwoods, one could assume that this poem was meant to be read and interpreted by a child. The purpose of the poem is to convey a child's understanding of sleep. The speaker compares sleeping with a ride on a boat, even including himself or herself to be cast as a sailor. Start the poem. Nurse helps me in when I embark, she girds me in my sailor's coat and starts me in the dark. So these 3 lines at first I shall summarize. That is, in the first stanza the speaker describes how they need help to climb aboard the boat. In line 2, the nurse is necessary in order to embark on the journey. She helps him into his sailor's coat, that is his pajamas, and starts him in the dark. The nurse must read the speaker a bedtime story or sings him a sweet song before helping him embark on his journey to the land of sleep. The next lines, that is, at night I go on board and say good night to all my friends on shore. I shut my eyes and sail away and see and hear no more. That's mean in the second stanza the speaker reveals of how they sleep. The friends on shore that mentioned in line 7 refer to the people who are still awake. The destination the speaker is sailing away to in line 8 is dreamland where they can get rest and relaxation. The speaker can no longer see the shore or his friends on shore from there. Sometimes things to bed I take as prudent sailors have to do. Perhaps a slice of wedding cake, perhaps a toy or two. That means the items mentioned in the third stanza are comfort items that the speaker takes to bed. The wedding cake refers to a child's soft spot for sweets. The toys are typical of children, especially to take to bed. The speaker even reverts to the toys as part of him in line 13 when he states across the dark we steer. Last stanza, that is, all night across the dark we steer, but when the day returns at last, safe in my room beside the fire, I find my vessels first. So the darkness is the first line of the last stanza, is the empty sleep that the speaker is experiencing. However, the darkness does not last. They finally arrives and the speaker eagerly jumps aboard the boat to return to shore, where he does not need help looking for his vessel, which is his bed. So boys, this is the poem, that is, my bed is a boat, and I also analyze this poem. And if this is the last poem for our third summative syllabus. So boys, if you have any problem regarding these chapters, you can call me or sending the WhatsApp through message.